Welcome to our final studio session for our Exceptional Extensions series. This focus for our 4 E's is going to be empowerment. Now, empowerment for us is having that ability and control to really power through the extensions that you want to, and also having the ability and control to kind of master the style, master the movement, feel really confident, right? It's personal empowerment through being strong in your technique. And so our strength here is going to be going into another series of kind of like tests where we're like, okay, we already looked to see if we have space in our joints. We already looked at the mobility and the flexibility of our muscles. And now we are going to say, okay, if our muscles are flexible enough to get there, if our joints are mobile enough to get us there, and we still aren't able to get there, it's probably lying in our strength, right? And so maybe our muscles just aren't strong enough to get there. Now, a lot of times with dancers are hypermobile, like they have natural flexibility. They also struggle with strength because the ligaments and the fascia that are in between holding everything together are a lot looser. And that's what's helping make them hypermobile, right? And so when that's the case, you might see a dancer having tons of flexibility, but not the strength to control it. Maybe they can get their leg up there, but it kind of like flies back down, right? Or sometimes we'll see dancers that are very strong and they lack that mobility, right? They really struggle with the mobility. So often like just knowing, okay, hypermobile dancers typically are that way because they lack the strength and the connecting tissues will allow us to not only help them with injury prevention things, but also help them understand that the strength is really important to have. And that's what the session is all about. So we're going to start talking about our arm strength. In our first session, if you missed it, go back. We were in our expansion session. We were talking about even the placement of our arms. Like, how do we even place our arms so that we have this expansiveness in our neck and our expansiveness in our shoulders, right? And our reach can be farther without everything taking over. And so for today, we're going to start to build the strength there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a light resistance band. So think light to medium, right? Some dancers might need to be extra light, and we're going to go right like a little bit above our wrist, not something crazy, right? Now from here, we're going to roll our shoulders forward. This is how a lot of dancers stand naturally. And so what we want to do is we want to take our hands and we want to rotate them back to our neutral alignment. And then we're going to relax them forward. Feel a difference in the shoulder placement. And then rotate them back. And then even our posture forward. Look at my posture here. And then rotate them back. Right? One more time. Forward. And rotate them back. Now from here, we're going to do just little pulses. It's not going up to second position. It's just little pulses out. We're going to do 8 and 5 and 6 and 7. Now we're going to hold it. We're going to do a small bend, extend, small bend, extend. We're going to do 8 of those. Small. Now when we extend, reach it away instead of hyperextend. Small, as if we're trying to reach our hands farther. 4 more. 4 and reach. 3 and reach. 2 and reach. Last one and reach. Now we're going to draw it all the way up. Keep our shoulders rotated. Now I'm going to step back so you can see my hands. So ready? Now rotate our shoulders. Now watch, we can just rotate our hands without our shoulders being a part of this at all. But I want you to see the difference in your arms, your shoulders, your neck. See how right now it's all closed off? Now just find some more tension in the band. Rotate our shoulders to turn those arms out. And then rotate from the shoulders. See how it closes everything off? Our hands did turn, but the shoulders really closed it off. Now rotate our shoulders. Good. And bring it in. Now, we're going to release that. You can do that 4 to 8 times, just trying to feel it. Now, if we didn't have the band, so the band can add a lot of tension. We can do this with our dancers, just with our arms, right? So bringing our arms up, and now watch as we rotate. Right? Watch as I rotate the shoulders in. Watch as I rotate the shoulders out. right? Rotate the shoulders in. Rotate the shoulders out. So that allows our dancers to find that expansiveness. When they go to that high fifth and we see everything close up, that allows us to find that expansiveness there. Now, I want us to talk about expansiveness and strength when we're going to lines like our soda shell line or what would be our split line, right? Or maybe our bottom line. So we're going to go into a low lunge. Now, if your dancers want, they can put a little pad underneath their knees because we will be down here for a second. So we're just going to go to a low lunge here. We're going to try to keep our purple-green connector points both facing forward, so we're not turning our hips and opening them up. We're keeping them in line. Now, we're not down to our lowest point, and we're going to stack the knee directly over the heel. Now from here, I just want us to try to target the muscle of that purple panel of the leg that's going back. I want us to try to activate that muscle. And that, as you're going to feel it, it's going to bring that hip forward. Just activating that muscle by itself, not the other side, just this one side. Now release, and it's going to allow us to sink down a little bit. Now remember, anytime we do stretches like this, come in warm. We don't want to start these stretches if we're cool. Activate the glute again. Fire that one up. See how it squares my hips off even more? But it also gives me the power there. And then relax. Doing that 4 to 8 times that side, and now we're going to switch to the other side. So bringing the other hip. Now this time I'm going to come straight for you, right? Bringing that other leg forward. So this is my left leg, sinking down a little bit. And we're not at our lowest point. We're just at a comfort point here. Now I'm going to take the purple panel of the back leg, and I'm going to activate. Now see right away how that brought that hip forward even more. Activate. Really try to squeeze just the one side. And release down. We might have to move that front to forward if we're really getting lower. There you go. Soften and just relax. One more time. Taking that glute and activate. Ooh, there we go. See how it pulls that hip forward? We're not gonna squeeze both sides. We're just gonna try to fire up the back leg side. And sink. Trying to keep those hips square, but we're releasing that quad, that glute. And bringing so just a little exercise to have you feel, right? Those hips square, what that would really feel like for that back glute to be engaged, and then the relaxation into a deeper stretch. Remember again, make sure we're warm before we try that. Now, let's try to activate the inner thigh muscles, the muscles we're gonna want for all of our ossificon extensions, okay? I'm gonna show you this exercise. We'll do it together twice on each side, but then just know you can do it 4 to 8 times with your dancers. Okay, so we're going to start off in a tabletop. From the side, it'll look like this. Our hands are directly below the shoulders. Knees are directly below the hips. Now I'm going to come head on with you so you can see the leg on the side. Our leg is going to be on the side. We're going to externally rotate. Now, our goal is going to be to fire up these green panels each and every time. But you're also going to see the blue panel is technically facing our front. So you should also have awareness, or it should start to give us awareness of what that psoas wants to do, right? When we're in that 90-degree position. So tabletop, leg directly out. Now, all we're going to try to do is we're going to try to build the strength of the inner thigh and the psoas. We're going to draw, we're going to dig our heel down, and we're going to slide it towards us. And then press it down. You'll feel the firing up right away. Dig it down, slide it up. Dig it down, and press it out. Now this time, we're going to dig it down, we're going to slide it in, we're going to lift it up as if we're doing attitude to the side. So dig it down, slide it in, feel it going into a stretch, and then lift it up. And tap it down. Extend down. There we go. Take it down. Slide it in. Lift it up. And press it out. One more time. Take it down. Slide it in. Lift it up. Slide it. Nice. Now, what we'll have our dancers do here is once they start to build strength in that, they can start to do a développé out. So dig it down. Activate it. Slide it in. Lift it up. extend it out, dig it down, slide it in, lift it up, extend it out, right? We can do that 4 to 8 times on that side. Now, one thing we want to notice as they extend it out is that they're still rotating that blue panel to face the floor, right? And we want, as best as they can, to keep those purple-green connector points facing the floor as well, so that they don't start to lift that hip, right? Okay, taking it to the other side. Plant those hands, left leg out, my left leg. It might be your right this time. Flex that foot, blue panel facing the floor. Dig it down, start to draw it in. You can always have your dancers stop here and feel for that green panel, feel for the blue panel, and then slide it out. And one more time, dig it down, slide it in, and slide it out. Good, one more time. This time we're gonna lift it up. Dig it down, slide it into our stretch, lift it up, plant it down, slide it out. Bring it in, lift it up, bring it down, lift it out. Third section, this is our développé section. Here we go. Bring it in, lift it up, développé out, bring it down, bring it in, lift it up, développé out, bring it down, and shake that out. So that's going to help us activate and strengthen our inner thigh and our psoas. Now, you can do multiple variations of this as your dancers gain strength. You could do little lifts in second position, right? 8 lifts. You can hold it at the top, do 8 lifts. If they get really strong, you can start to do the circles, but remember form over anything else. So if they're starting to do circles or doing little pulses, and you start to notice that instead of the green panel, it becomes blue, 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 then we're working a totally different exercise. Not that that exercise isn't powerful, it is for certain things, but it wouldn't be for your all-second placement. So if you're doing that, build that into a class where they need it for whatever the exercises are for that class. But if you're thinking all-second placement, then find that additional external rotation and build the strength there. Awesome. Now we're going to go into one more exercise that's really going to focus on building more endurance. Anytime you want to build endurance, what we recommend you doing is finding the muscle group that you really need that endurance built in, and find an exercise or create an exercise that can give you reps in that muscle group endurance, right? That can build that muscle group up. So I'm going to show you one exercise at the bar, but just know that this is like infinity amount of exercises that you can build out for your dancers. This is just one example. So a lot of times dancers try to turn out from their feet, right? So they're not really focusing on their leg. And a lot of times if they're coming from fourth, you'll see that the leg sinks forward versus like finding that rotation on the front and the back leg without opening the hips up. So this exercise is just an example that's going to show us how to build endurance in that one concept and getting the dancers to understand it really fast. And then you can take this and run with it. So you can break down, okay, we're trying to get our dancers to understand this, what major muscle group we use, how can we build endurance in just that muscle group, okay? Is I'm going to have you put little band just a couple of inches above it. And this is how we're going to work on that one focus. Getting in fourth position. From here, we're going to press the heel up of that back leg, okay? And we're going to try to present as many of the green panels as we can. My friend's going to be the bar. Now from here, we're going to stabilize that back leg. We're just going to do little plies. So keeping the back knee exactly where it is. 3. We're just going to do 4 in the series in each one. Then we're going to hold that front leg right where it is, and we're just going to pulse back. 4, 3, 2, hold that. Now, holding it there, we're just going to lift the front heel. 1, and lower. We can feel it. Feel it. 2, and lower. 3, and lower. Maintain the relative. 4, and pulsing. 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Now, that's simple, right? Now you would have your dancer repeat the whole thing. So lower the heel, pulse back 4, and 3, and 2, right? Going through it. Then they would repeat the opposite. Now, you could do more reps. So you could do like 8 and 2 sets, or you could do 4 and do 4 sets, or you can start with just a couple of each and build up as your dancers build up endurance, right? And so that's an example of finding, okay, there's one issue my dancers are having, and that's maintaining the silk turnout in that back leg. How can we not only get them to feel the concept, but get them to build strength in that concept, right? So we won't do both sides because this was just an example, but showing you how to really pinpoint what you're hoping your dancers will understand. Now I want to go back, circle back really quick to our expansion, elongation, empowerment tests to see if we can understand where certain things are coming from as we mesh them all together. So let's talk specifically about our straddle lines, okay? If our dancer's struggling in straddle, so I'm going to put my guys here. If our dancer's struggling in straddle, they might, maybe they're up here, we don't know. But we're trying to figure out if it's in a joint expansion thing, if it's a hamstring flexibility issue, or if it's a strength, like they let it go and the quads take over, right? Is that a strength thing? Are the quads just too strong? So what we would do is we would first take our legs and we would find the space in the joint, right? Like we did the first week. If we can get our leg to have the space in that straddle joint, then it wouldn't be a joint issue. Now, if you're taking your dancer to the side and they get here, and you as a teacher can feel that it stops, that's a joint issue, right? So now we would really focus more on mobility of the joints for that dancer. Now, if they were here and we're starting in first position, we're drawing it down, and the quads aren't taking over, but they stop. This would be that hamstring flexibility, right? The quads aren't taking over, they're just in a relaxed position, but they can't go any farther. This would be the flexibility. Now, if they can go all the way, we're really much farther down, but then the second they let go, the quads take over, that's gonna be a strength issue. That's the quad taking over what the inner thighs need to be working on, right? And so then, you know, okay, my dancer's flexible, my dancers have space in their joints, but the quads are much stronger than the muscles they need for this line. So you might see that in their also concerts. You might see that in their batmas where the lift and the quad moves forward. You might see that in a number of places and be like, is my dancer just not flexible? And this is where you can come back to the test from the past 4 weeks and be like, let's pinpoint what is really happening and let's get some pretty incredible extensions going for my dancer. So if you notice it's a quad heavy thing, maybe the muscles that are needed just aren't strong enough. Isolate like we did at the bar, isolate like we did in some of these other exercises, just the muscles that are needed. And you will see so fast the extensions that your dancers are doing just explode, just 10x themselves and be not only gorgeous, not only long, but strong and controlled. And they will be able to do that. And there'll be so much pride and excitement in that, that you as a teacher will just be like, to see your dancers so fired up for themselves and what they're able to do. So I'm excited for you. Thank you for following our series, and we can't wait to get in the studio more and dance with you. Have a good one.